Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of the video podcast coming to you from figuredrawingonline.com. The free video podcasts are the cut down version of the full lectures that you can get on figure drawing. Now each podcast corresponds with the lecture of the same name, and there's 13 will be 13 in total that correspond to each part of the body. We kind of started with the rib cage and progressing through the pelvis, upper leg, knee, lower leg, foot, etc., till we cover whole of the body. Today we talk about the skull, and what I will do is just quickly give you a lowdown on the bony structures of the skull in order to get some, just to get you started. It's tremendously important to know the skull. It's a huge advantage, especially if you're trying to do portraits, because the bony structure is just under the skin. So it's really important to have that understanding of what's under the skin. It will help you to position the facial features and help you to achieve decent results. Now, in terms of massing, the very simple massing would be, as I started here, with a ball and a kind of a cylinder that sits in the front. Anything that comes after that is pretty much refining of the same kind of principle. Now, in the front here we have a bony structure. There's a cavity that houses the eyeballs, and then we have this bit here in the front that kind of comes towards the end. Now, I'm not trying to make this incredibly accurate, and the reason for that is we don't need to be perfectionists in terms of naming the parts and knowing all the furrows and dips and bits and protuberances. It's not actually important. It's important to the medical students, but not to artists. What we are after is the general shape. The general shape that will allow us to select a symbol to represent it, some kind of a simple geometric symbol, and once we get that, then we can construct the body. We can relate the bits and parts to each other, and that way we can create the body. So this is the maxilla here, the upper jaw, where we have some teeth inserted and gums. I'm not going to go into the details of the teeth. And then we have the mandible, which is the lower jaw. There's a bit of a kind of a curvature to this bit here, and there's a division, and that's where the teeth of the lower jaw of the mandible are inserted. Now, just behind the ear we have there's quite a prominent bony bit, which is called a mastoid process, and that is a very good landmark that helps us to orient ourselves. This bit here, of course, is a cavity, and instead of going into a lot of shading, what I will do is probably just mention a few of the muscles that are important in order to understand the skull, and later on facial expressions. But for the whole set of facial expressions you will have to purchase the lecture, which is number 11 on the skull, and you can find it at www.figuredrawingonline.com. I'm going to draw another bit here, and that's going to be the frontal view of the skull. And again, this bit in the back is kind of fairly larger, and I'm just kind of, in terms of simple massing, I'm just putting in some markers for myself so I don't get lost in proportions. That's somewhere the next stage after once you're able to actually do the massing in your head, so that you don't have to do it on the paper. Then all you will have to do, if you choose to, of course, is to put down some markers, kind of, you know, how far things go, instead of just putting them in hardcore, which pretty much ruins at the beginning. It ruins the drawing, but while you're learning, it's a huge help. So again, here we have this bit here that is tucked in towards the side of the skull. There's quite a bit here coming down, and then of course this goes around the corner like such. And then we have the maxilla, as we said earlier, houses the teeth. We have some of these guys here. And then we have the maxilla below, which has this quite a sharp angle in the front, which varies from nation to nation, depends on what the cultural and historical backgrounds are. These things change. Caucasian skull, well, that's what I'm doing. That's kind of Western Caucasian skull, but you know, the Asian skull would look slightly different. There would be a slightly different proportions. So you need to take that into account when drawing. So these bits here are hollow, and so is this bit here. As you can see, this is a very fast sketch, but that's all you really need to do, as long as you know the shapes, you know the basic structures. Then you can build on that. You can refine it, but you don't have to know each and every single groove. That would be counterproductive, especially if you want to concentrate on your artwork. Alright, let me change the paper here. And I will just quickly put in a few muscles for you. That might help you in drawing. You know, just put in a skull, kind of this way. I'm not going to put in actually a lot of details, and the reason for that is that I'm going to be drawing muscles, so I'm just indicating the bony structures underneath, so we get some kind of a map, or you know, a bit of a structure. Okay, so somewhere there would be the eyes. That's the mouth and the chin. And, you know, there would be some ears on the side. Alright, so let me change the color so it's easier. Around here, around the eye, is quite a large muscle, which is called orbicularis oculi. Orbicularis oculi runs in a kind of a circular fashion, and the fibers of the muscles run all around, like such. Just above it is the muscle called frontalis, that comes down to about such fashion. It's inserted there. I'm going to actually do only half of the skull to save some time. Now just on the side here we have a muscle called levator labii superioris aliquanasi. Now it's a really mouthful of a name, but that's what it's called. The fibers run down in such a fashion. Down below we have here a muscle, again a round muscle that goes pretty much all around. There will be a few others connected to it, so I'm not finishing this line here. And it goes in again in a circular fashion all around the mouth, and it's called orbicularis oris, as opposed to orbicularis oculi, which is there. Now, right next to this is a Zygomaticus minor that is connected to orbicularis oculi, and is going past it, and then is inserted in the orbicularis oris. Below it is the Zygomaticus major, which is connected there, and it's connected there, comes back, and it's connected roughly where the corner of the mouth is, where the bottom and the lower lip meet. And then we have another one down here, which is called the depressor anguli oris. So that's the fibers. I can put in the fibers here now. Then down below we have the masseter, which you can see a little bit past that point behind the Zygomaticus major. Underneath we have the buccinator. Never quite sure how to pronounce that one. And then in the front we have on each side, we have a muscle here. I'll put it on this side so you can see it easier. It's the depressor labii inferioris. Just there. In the middle we have a mentalis, and then across the nose we have nasalis. So even the names are fairly easy to remember. On the nose we have nasalis. Then just here above the eye is the corrugator, and what else? There's another muscle, the levator labii superioris, which is on the lower level, just underneath there, and one more, which is the levator anguli oris, which again is hiding there, just underneath. So I think that's about it. As a very fast lowdown on muscles. Now, what they do, how they animate the face, you need to get the full lecture for that. But this usually what happens, there's a kind of a cooperation of movements that happens kind of, when the corner of the mouth is lifted, what happens with the eye, etc., etc. So it's kind of an orchestrated movement. But most of the expressions are detailed in the lecture, so you can find it there. Alright, that's about it. As a very, very fast lowdown, you do need to know how to draw the skull in order to put things in perspective. If you want to draw a head that is not in a usual angle, or it's foreshortened. In order to be able to put in the facial features to mask the head correctly, you do need to know what the structure of the skull is, how the bones operate, where are they connected, where they're going. You don't need to know the exact shapes, but you need to know the mass, so we can do that. So you can put a face, put a head in perspective, and make good choices. Alright, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. That was the video podcast on the skull, coming to you from figuredrawingonline.com. The next one will be on facial features. See you then.